for the football. This for the football. For the city and the back roads. Got a whole county full of them goats. All from the football. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmerton and Valley. We from the football chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcons. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewell got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really bout it, yeah. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them, yeah. And Connie, I flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the football. This for the football. This for the football.
All right, everybody, welcome back here. It is week 8 already here in this high school football season. My name is Sam Torres, and we are live here at the Crow's Nest, presented to you by Sposito Insurance. It's the 440 Sports Show. Make sure you guys come down here. They've got chili, stromboli, bacon, mushroom, Swiss specials down here at the Crow's Nest. I'll tell you what, it's a packed house, but there's always room for one more. Come on down here. Get yourself an excellent, excellent meal from great staff. It's a great environment down here, right here at the Crow's Nest. We're going to get ready to introduce our player of the week. But before we do, let's talk about how this season has gone already in this year. We've got some teams out of the playoff race, some teams in the playoff race. But one thing it has been is exciting all year long in Ashtabula County football. You don't have to miss a minute of it. It's always going to be on your home for high school sports, ysnlive.com. And we're going to get ready to introduce our week 8 player of the week. It's the man on a mission. His name is Ryan Turner, folks, from Conneaut, the junior, getting ready to join us this week. How you doing, Ryan?
Good, how are you?
I'll tell you what, not as good as you. You have been on a tear this year on the football field, and it has been something to watch. We're going to be going through our stat leaders later in the show, and you're going to be on a couple of those boards. One of them, to me, is the most surprising, is that catch leader board. As you're going to be, we'll make them wait on that, but you're going to be on there and pretty high up. So let's talk about that Friday night game. 9 receptions. I got 6 receptions. I got updated. 2 touchdowns, 9 tackles though, and a TFL. And I believe you got yourself an interception in that one as well.
Yeah, I did.
So, everything but the partridge and a pear tree is what Ryan Turner was getting done here in this game. You've had a crazy, crazy great season this year. You've been a name that we've known in Conneaut. You're a junior, but even as a freshman, you were making your way out there. You made a pretty big transition this year, though.
Yeah.
You go from a guard
Center.
from a center to the tight end position. And not only did you make the transition in all of, July, you go out there and you're one of the leading pass catchers here in the county. Take me through how this came to be, because that's not a switch you see too often.
So it was over the summer. We were at the 7-on-7s, and we ended up having our tight end went on vacation. So then he missed the 7-on-7. So I went out there as a joke, ran a couple routes, caught a couple touchdowns, and then it was in the next practice I ended up going with the skill players.
So Coach Rocco's out there letting you guys have a little fun.
Yep.
And you decided that this was going to be more than fun. It was going to be a day at work for Ryan Turner.
Yeah.
So you get out there, catch a couple touchdowns there in that 7-on-7. And then what was the conversation like with you and Coach Dobrin? Was it, hey, since you're going to be so good here, get used to catching all year? Or was it more of a conversation?
Oh, it was definitely like, I thought he was joking. He was like, came to practice. He was like, hey, Turner, you're down here now. And I was shocked, but it ended up being fun.
So you had to learn on the fly. It wasn't there was no telephone conversation like, we're going to do this. It was, hey, Ryan, by the way, you're not with those guys anymore. You're over here.
Yeah.
So you make the move over to the tight end position. Obviously, the skill set, while the blocking is a huge part, especially in Conneaut football. You guys run the ball, and that's, the joke is run, Rocco, run. That's what you guys do, right?
Yeah.
But, passing has always been a big part of this offense. What did you do to get ready?
Well, so we did a lot more catching and running routes and learning the routes and coming like I guess running routes. Yeah.
Yeah, so running routes, maybe doing some hands drills, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. Was there anybody you looked to, anybody you worked with directly to make sure that the lineman whose hand's in the dirt most of the time is going to be catching the ball?
Colby.
Colby, okay.
Yeah.
That's an interesting pool there as well. So, you've got Colby who's coming in. It's his first year starting. So technically it's your first year starting at this position too.
Yeah.
So you guys are both learning, on the fly. Was it time before practice, after practice? Did you guys find a lot of time to do this, or, because the clock was ticking?
Yeah, it was. We definitely worked a lot during practice, but yeah, we found some time after practice.
Awesome. Anybody, and I didn't prep him for this one, folks. Anybody you're watching on Saturday or Sunday that you were trying to, take some pointers from or emulate out there?
Oh, it's a lot of. I mean, it's a lot of like the catching from like tight ends, like Travis Kelce.
That's the one I was looking for,
Yeah.
Travis Kelce. As a Browns fan, we ain't got too much going to look for there. But so, let's talk about Friday night. So Friday night, both of you guys, neither of the teams have had the start of the season that you want, right?
Yeah.
But we're in conference play, so all that other stuff doesn't matter. And then to add another layer on top of this, it's Edgewood.
Yeah.
It is the Edgewood that you guys have to play. You guys don't even say it. You chop the wood. That's what you do out there. You're going into Edgewood. Tell me about the week of practice getting ready for this one.
Well, we wanted more like it was more strict. Like we were straight to it, but it was a lot more fun.
Okay.
So we listened to music during practice, but it was a lot more focused during the drills.
Yeah. So when you guys pull into Edgewood, you get over there into Corlew Stadium. What was the atmosphere like? Was it loud? Was everybody ready to go?
Oh yeah, it was their homecoming game. We pulled in. We were all surprised how many fans they had there already. No, it was 5:30, and that stadium was almost packed.
Wow. So that playing in a packed stadium isn't really anything new for you guys, because in Conneaut, it seems like the whole town comes down to the field when the Spartans are on the field. What is that like as somebody who, when did you start playing football? You said around 5th grade?
Yeah, 5th grade.
So you've made your way through the ranks. You've been part of Little Spartans Night. You went through the junior high, and now it's your turn to be out there. What's it like going out there in front of the entire city of Conneaut?
Well, it's definitely great, because we all know that we're going to have a crowd to show out for.
Uh-huh.
So, but it's definitely like you got the town rallying behind you, so it's definitely a boost of confidence.
Do you think it gives you guys an advantage at times? Because I'll tell you what, I've been there. I've gotten a chance to call a couple of those games, and it's hard even in the press box to hear sometimes.
Yeah. So, sometimes it's hard to hear on the field.
So, you're playing on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball. You're going to be part of 2 different lists. I think 3 different lists, if I'm not mistaken. So you're obviously effective on both. Where do you play at on defense? What's your position?
Outside linebacker.
Outside linebacker. Now, were you a defensive end last year? That's what I thought. So it seems like what's going on is Ryan Turner has gotten more athletic as the years have gone on. So what was it like to move from that defensive end to the outside linebacker position?
It was a transition. It was a lot more because, you don't have pass coverage. You don't have to worry about our defensive line is more of taking up blocks and not of making the tackle.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more like making the tackle and stopping them.
So you're telling me that they put a little bit more on your plate, not just on offense, on defense.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were some things that you were trying to get better at or trying to work on in the offseason?
The pass, definitely breaking to like the receivers. Like my job is the flats, so it's definitely like from reading pass, reading run, so filling the holes.
Yeah, I mean, because at defensive end, your only job is to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you got a little bit more on top of it. So, what are some of the other sports that you play at Conneaut?
I play basketball.
Okay, so you're a basketball. I knew that because I've seen them. What are some of the things you think that basketball has done to help you on the football field, especially this year?
Definitely It's definitely helped with the athleticism, like the agility work. Yeah.
So agility, athleticism. What about the conditioning? You know what I mean? I know you guys run a pretty rigorous conditioning out there in Conneaut, but you're expected to do a lot more running, I think, this year than last year, right?
Yeah. So the basketball has definitely helped on the conditioning part. Up and down the court. So.
Yeah, because you play the forward position, correct? Yeah. Right. Yeah, I remember. You're a rebound wrangler.
Yeah.
That's where you make your money for sure. So what are some of the things that you're looking forward to? I know that the season is already pretty much through, but what are some of the things you're looking forward to for the rest of this year?
Finishing out the season with our seniors.
Mm-hmm.
These are guys that we've played with since the little leagues, so it's definitely like you were losing them, so it's not the best feeling.
Yeah.
But,
well, yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that, about the seniors, and let's talk a little bit more about that Conneaut culture. You know what I mean? What's some of the things like as you came into high school football, because you were already, I think, as a freshman getting time on that varsity field. What were some of the things you got ready for, or you were most excited about Conneaut football?
The fans and the culture, and it's just like the kids. We grew up together. It's a small town, so you kind of know everybody, and you get to like play with them all, and it's.
Yeah, and you're with these guys all the time. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know how many brothers or sisters you have, but I know you got probably 53 out there on the field.
Yeah.
When it comes to that football season. Now, one of the things I got to see this year, you guys have a lot of great photographers out there in Conneaut. They catch some incredible moments. And you've got like an NFL football card moment. It's you with the water bottle, blood pouring down your face. It looks like you just got done with a match with Stone Cold Steve Austin out there. But, it's one of the things that I've noticed, you have played through some tough injuries, that sort of thing. How do you keep that intensity going? Because, there's a lot of guys that when the blood starts to trickle, they're like, hey, coach, get me out.
It's definitely the adrenaline. I didn't really know I was bleeding until I put my hand there and felt it.
So, offensively and defensively, which one of those two do you like more?
Offense.
Now, do you think it's because you're at the tight end this year? Yeah, maybe not so much when you were at the center, right?
No, last year I definitely liked defense more.
So, as you made that transition from the center to the tight end, like it's always fun to run routes and catch and be involved in the game. But that center position, more than anybody.
Yeah.
How important that is. What was that transition like? Did you find yourself helping? Who is the new center this year?
It's Dyson Drina. He's a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the season, I was still a center. So, not at the beginning of the season, summertime, I was still a center.
That's the beginning of the season.
So, yeah. So, he was my backup. So, we did a lot of I did help him a lot. We did our steps together, our plays together. And then when I left, Wyatt Distel, he's a sophomore, so he did a lot of helping with that too.
Yeah,
his transition. So,
did you have any words of wisdom or anything you tried to let him know, or even just something when it comes to technique or anything that you tried to help him with?
Just one word of wisdom I told him was don't get down on yourself. Like bad snaps happen. I had a couple last year.
They do. Listen, the only time a center's name is when they've done something bad. Yeah. That's it. Other than that, you guys are the invisible men on the field.
Yeah.
So did you talked about Kelsey and that. What about on the receiving end? You talked about you and Colby getting together, but you guys have some guys who could catch the ball. Brady Vera and these guys who have been catching. Any of those guys? Did you look to any for help from those guys, or maybe emulation, that sort of thing?
Yeah, Thaddeus Huya is a big one.
Oh yeah, my bad. I forgot about Huya. Yeah. Listen, Huya can get busy out there.
Yeah, he's definitely quick.
Yeah. So he's quick. Who's the fastest guy on the Conneaut Spartans team this year?
I think it's Isaiah Bowles.
You think it's Isaiah Bowles? All right. Listen, I'm stirring the pot a little bit. Practice will be fun tomorrow.
We're gonna be having races.
Yeah. So it's been really fun to get to watch you out there. I'd spoken with Coach Rocco a little bit before the season started, and he had told me that, hey, we're going to give, Ryan Turner a couple, but I thought he was blowing smoke. Sometimes he throws you off a little bit, but you went out there and you were really getting the job done. When people watch Ryan Turner, the Conneaut Spartan play, what should they get? What should they look forward to?
Hopefully him catching the ball and getting touchdowns.
I'll tell you what, it doesn't get much better than that. I want to tell you, congratulations on a great season so far. Thanks so much for coming on the show, and I'm looking forward. This week, you guys got another. You go from one county matchup to another, and it's against, I think, a very tough, records don't matter, Lakeside game. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be right here on YSN. I can't wait to see it and see what Ryan Turner is going to get done here in this one, because every week he's putting up numbers, big numbers, touchdowns, catches, you name it. Turner's going to get it done. Thanks so much for coming on the
Thank
show.
you for having me.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local, independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
The feeling when my hands are on the piano, it's become comforting. It's somewhere that I can express myself. I go to Youngstown State University and my passion is playing music. YSU is allowing me to take what I love and turn it into a career and do it every single day of my life. I'm Alyssa and I'm YN proud.
My guy keeps it 100% of the time. He wants all 100, won't settle for 99. And it's more than stats, because there's people in those numbers. And I was one of the lost sheep. I'm so glad he cares for all 100. I'm 100% saved, 100% free, 100% love. I can be 100% me. He gave all 100 when they put him up on that tree. That's 100% passion for 100% free. So if I play in front of 100, or if I play in front of 2, there's an audience of 1 getting 100% of what I can do.
All right, everybody, we are back here after that interview with Ryan Turner of the Conneaut Spartans. Let me get me turned up here a little bit. I think I was a little bit loud before. Ryan Turner is one of those stories. It's been an interesting watch all year long. When you hear these stories of kids moving from one position to another, they don't always go as well as this one has gone. And, I get the privilege of every Saturday night or Sunday night, I get the stats in. And as I've been putting them in, you get to watch these catch totals go up and up and up and up. I think the county is throwing the ball a lot more than normal this year. You've got teams like Conneaut that have typically been a rush-heavy offense. You've got guys like Gleason and Payne, and before him, Zach Rice. And, they've always run the ball very, very well. But this year they've been able to throw the ball a little bit more without sacrificing too much in the rushing game, because they've got a great running back in Isaiah Bowles as well. But what they've found is that these tight end pop passes and things like that have worked for them. And it's been fun to watch. It's been fun to keep track of. But we're going to get into what has become both my favorite and most controversial part of the show. We're going to go into our stat leaders. Now, keep in mind, folks, every week when I put these out, I get messages, I get comments about, inaccuracies and that sort of thing. I'm only giving you guys the information that I have been made available. The only difference is on the defensive side, we have a different calculation for tackles. You get 1 point for a tackle, half of a point for an assist, You get 1 point for a tackle for loss, 1 point for a sack. Other than that, everything else that is provided, it to me is exactly what you're getting. But without further ado, folks, let's get into Ashtabula, YSN Ashtabula stat leaders. All right, everybody, we're going to start this week like we always do, and that is with the passing leaders this week. So Dylan Burlingham out of Jefferson still leading the pack right now, 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions for that young man. Coming up right behind him is going to be Omar Ambris, who has made a pretty big jump, jumping from fourth last week, fourth, all the way to second. 72 completions for 960 yards. Now, that 9 touchdown to 8 interception ratio, not something that I'm sure Coach Terry is super thrilled about, but this is another young man who first-year starter as a starting quarterback for the Lakeside Dragons and has found his way. He is 40 yards away from 1,000. Coming in third place is Colby Stiltner, another first-year guy. Coming into this one, 90 completions, 779 yards, 9 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. But he's another guy who has been coming along progressively throughout this year, finding times to make big plays, getting the touchdowns when they matter. Right behind Stiltner is going to be Grand Valley's Sammy Goforth with 39 completions. He's got 628 yards. It's an impressive number for that young man, considering the run-heavy offense that they run in Grand Valley, running that wing T flex bone type of offense out there, and Goforth, who is still finding ways to connect in the passing game. Vin Narducci coming in next with 590 yards, 3 touchdowns for that young man, 4 interceptions. This is a offense that has completely changed from last year. This is a St. John team that threw the ball probably 150 to 160 times by this point in the season. This year, just 97 pass attempts. They've gone much more run heavy, and now they've got Ryan Williams leading the pack with almost 600 yards rushing, but also 2 other guys in Anderson and Narducci, each with over 300 yards. The rushing attack has found its way over to St. John. And J.J. Dufour over at Edgewood with 585 yards. He's got 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions on just 36 attempts for that young man. And then rounding it out is going to be PV's Ryan Croston, 26 completions for 528 yards. If you know anything about PV football, you know they're not throwing the ball. They're going to run the ball, and they're going to run it well. Which brings me to my next slide. Our rushing leaders for the week, and it's Ryan Croston over at PV leading the pack this week. 109 carries. He's got 1,132 yards, 8 touchdowns. Behind Croston, another PV Laker, Ty Vickery, with 133 carries. He's got 897 yards, but 13 touchdowns. He is their goal line killer out there in PV. Right behind him is Grand Valley's Andrew Soltis, 154 carries, 821 yards. He's got 10 touchdowns. Conneaut's Isaiah Bowles comes in next, 132 carries, 765 yards. He's got 3 touchdowns. And his 3 touchdown is largely in part to the fact that they're utilizing that tight end, and Stiltner able to hit those short passes in the end zone. Matthew Webster, Webby, with 122 carries for 665 yards. He's got 8 touchdowns on the year for that Jefferson Falcons team. Ryan Williams, as I spoke about before, he's got 98 carries, 586 yards, and 5 touchdowns. This is the most rushing yards St. John has had in about 5 years. Really finding their way around the running game, thanks in part to a very, very good offensive line that they've been running behind as well. And then we round out with J. Anthony Williams, 70 carries, 476 yards, and 3 touchdowns. It's another Dragon right behind him in Devin Miller, 56 carries. He's got 468 yards, 3 touchdowns there as well. Our receiving leaders this week, Cage Bozar leading the pack. Congratulations to Cage Bozar in Jefferson for tying the school record with 54 receptions and 2 more games. He's looking to break that Jefferson record. 728 yards for him, 8 touchdowns for Bozar. Right behind him, another Falcon and Devin Salinas, 29 receptions for 405 yards. He's got 3 touchdowns on the year. And then Conneaut, Ryan Turner, 39 receptions, 384 yards, and 6 touchdowns for the newest tight end in that Spartan Nation. It has been incredible to see this young man make that transition. He has been a leader all year long when it comes to pass catchers. 6 touchdowns means he's an end zone threat as well. Devin Miller, 19 receptions. He's got 355 yards from Lakeside, 4 touchdowns for him. Will Anderson, who is still finding his way in that receiving corps to make sure he is making a difference in these games. He's got 25 receptions for 327 yards, 1 touchdown for him. Terry Brown, one of the most dangerous end zone threats, especially when you're in that red zone. 19 receptions, 319 yards. He's got 1 touchdown. And J. Anthony Williams, 17 receptions, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns for him. And Grand Valley's John Foss Peters with 15 receptions. He's got 242 yards and 3 touchdowns. We move along to our tackle leaders. And again, I explained the algorithm and the formula, and that's how we come up with these numbers. Leading the pack this week is Edgewood's Denver Kessler with 68. Right behind him is Conneaut's Josh Sabo. He's got 66.5 tackles. Behind Sabo is going to be Lakeside's Tyree Anderson with 64.5. Another Dragon behind Anderson with 62 is J. Anthony Williams. Ryan Turner from Conneaut, 60 tackles on the year. So when he's not catching passes, he's making tackles. Grand Valley's Andrew Soltis with 57.5 tackles. Will Anderson for the St. John Heralds with 55. Nate Bartone with 52.5 for the Dragons. Grayson Petros, 52 tackles. And you're going to see the number. He has one number that has boosted his tackle total tackle numbers so much. It's been incredible. We'll get to that slide here in just a bit. And Mike Ochoa from Edgewood with 50 tackles. That number is this one right here. Grayson Petros, 13 tackles for loss on the year. He has been an absolute terror in the backfield for the St. John Heralds on the defensive side this year. And all 13 of those tackles count toward his tackle total, which helps him boost that number. It's been incredible to watch this young man. Ryan Croston right behind him with 9 tackles for loss. Andrew Soltis comes in next with 8. Tyree Anderson comes in. He's going to be tied up with Dylan Phillip out of Conneaut. Both of those guys with 7 tackles for loss on the year. Jaden Anderson comes next with 6 tackles for loss. Denver Kessler with 5. And Ryan Turner with 5. So a lot of TFLs going on in that Conneaut defense. Your sack leaders coming into this week, Matthew Adkins from PV is tied with PV's John Finello. Both of those young men, 4.5 sacks, and they are also going to be tied with Grayson Petros, who has 4.5 sacks as well. PV's Jaron Nowakowski has 3 sacks, and we have 7 county players right now tied with 2 or 2.5 sacks. It's been a crazy defensive year this year. And now we get into our interception total. Tied for first place right now in the county with 3 is Will Anderson from St. John and Mason Kokab from Grand Valley, each of them with 3. And then all tied with 2 interceptions is Pymatuning Valley's Bryce Brown, PV's Jace Falkman, JJ Dufour from Edgewood, and Riley Baldwin from Edgewood. So a lot of ball thieves out there. It's been a great year defensively for these teams. You know, I think a lot of teams were rebuilding. A lot of teams lost a lot of seniors last year, and we're looking for some guys to step up into that role. And I think that's what you're seeing this year. There's a lot of guys in that sophomore, junior class for the various teams around the county that have made a huge difference and are finding their way. And while the record hasn't really been what you would want, I think what they have done is they're building these programs, getting things set in stone, and it's going to be exciting football for years to come here in this area. Let's talk about some of the games that happened on Friday, including a recap of one. Lakeside goes out there and they met the Big Bad Wolf, and it did not go as planned. 43-0, the final score in that one. The Geneva Eagles they're a machine. They are an absolute machine. Bryce Pete, Luke Barbo, Hayden Deemer, Caden Proy, all of these guys have the ability to make big plays at any given moment. I think what's more impressive than anything is this Geneva team's defense has been locked down all year. So they go out there. Obviously, Lakeside can't get into that end zone. They're holding that goose egg near and dear. They get ready for another tough one, as Conneaut right now is on cloud 9, going out there and beating their rival on rival turf. Now they get to come home and play the Lakeside Dragons in week 9. Edgewood and Conneaut, that one ends in an absolute classic. 27-29, the Conneaut Spartans come out on top, and we've got the highlights courtesy of YSN right here.
Stilner gets the ball, hands off to Bowles. He's bowling forward. He gets all the way down to the 1.
Whatever it was, it's fixed.
And that's a Stilner with a run in off the left tackle. It's kind of a sweep to the left a little bit there.
Just takes it in.
Touchdown, Conneaut Spartans.
Empty backfield. Back to pass.
5 wideouts.
Throws it a little sidearm.
Yes, it is.
Gets it out.
Oh, and he's gone to the races.
And, touchdown and late flags.
Wideouts on the near side. Stilner gets the ball. Takes off running. It's a little pass play, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Conneaut Spartans.
See what they can do here on 3rd down. Back to pass.
He's looked like
he's scrambling.
Looking for somewhere to go. He's wide open.
Wide open for the touchdown in the end zone.
Number 22. How can that happen? I mean, running play up the middle. He's got some room, and he's off to the races. The only one guy to beat who's trying to trail him. He's not going to catch him. That is Isaiah Bowles for a touchdown, Conneaut Spartans.
Well,
Stilner on a sweep around the outside, gets past 2 Warriors and gets his way all the way down to the 15-yard line as we're going to mark that one. A little blob pass. It's caught. That is caught. And that's Turner.
Back to pass. Throwing it down the field.
Oh, yes, he is. Oh, it is caught. And he is gone. Stilner gets the ball. Isaiah rolls out. It's a passing play and is intercepted.
Riley Baldwin takes it down to the 20-yard line. Well, there's a pass. Touchdown in the end zone.
Yes, it was. For defense. And here comes Jaden Anderson trying to run a blitz there. Incomplete,
and the clock runs out.
Yep.
And that, friends, is the ball game.
So you see the ending of that one right there is absolutely electric. On both sides of the ball, you've got guys making huge plays. You've got Turner with the catch over the linebacker in the end zone. Bowles with, the 75-yard touchdown to start the game off. But Devin Sanchez over at Edgewood really had himself a coming out party in that one. He scores 3 separate times. This is a young man who, they've been talking about him in that Buckeye system over the last couple years. And it's a kid who came out, had a big game. It comes down to the final play of the game. 27-29. Those games are never not going to be exciting. If you're going to pick some games to watch, these are the ones you don't want to miss. Rivalry games always add another layer to these games. It doesn't matter what the record is. It doesn't matter who's making the playoffs, who's not making the playoffs, where they stand in the conference. On that given night, they want to beat each other more than anything in the world, and it always ends up being an exciting game, and that one was no different. Jefferson falls to Madison. This was a Thursday night game, 44-6, the final in that one. Madison and Geneva is going to be a game that is going to decide who's going to win that CVC Lake Division. That's going to happen this week on Friday. St. John and Fairport. St. John goes out to Fairport, and the Skippers on their homecoming got it done. Flat out, 43-13. I really think that St. John came into that one trying to recover from an instant classic, unfortunately, that they lost against an undefeated Wyndham team. The game gets away from them in the second half, and Fairport was not letting St. John get back into this game. Got a chance to call it, and what you saw was Fairport just making big play after big play. And by the time the end of it was, 43-13 is your end. Grand Valley goes down to Rootstown. It's a tough night. Grand Valley plays a very talented, a very good football team in the Rootstown Rovers. 42-22, the final on that one. Pymatuning Valley goes out to Matthews, and it is the same as they always have been doing in that NAC. 50-0. Pymatuning is a ship that cannot be taken off of course. Perry goes out 49-13. I'll be honest, I was surprised that this one wasn't a better game just because Harvey has got a running back in Sean Alston that is phenomenal. But Perry does a great job of keeping them under control. 49-13 is the final in that one. And now let's talk about these week 9 matchups. We got a lot of good ones. 2-6 Lakeside, 2-6 Conneaut. They have to go to Conneaut on this one. Both of these teams are looking to grab these last few wins as the season comes to an end. It's going to be really, really interesting. It's Ryan Turner and Bowles and Stiltner getting ready to take on Ombris and Williams and Miller. Which defense is going to step up? Who's going to have more tackles in this game? Is it going to be Tyree Anderson for Lakeside? Is it going to be Jaden Anderson for Conneaut? Who's going to make the bigger plays? Who's going to keep the ball? Who's going to win the turnover? Edgewood and Jefferson, it's the Holdley Cup. Don't miss this game, folks. Don't miss this game. It's Larry Jennings and Scott Demos on the call. It's 2-6 Jefferson. It's 1-7 Edgewood. Neither one of these teams are making the playoffs. This is what they've got. It's a traveling trophy. It's a trophy game. It's as big a rivalry, if not bigger, than the one with Conneaut. These are two teams that have been licking their chops. They can't wait to get at each other. It's two programs that look forward to this one, and I know me personally, this is the game I want to check out on Friday night. St. John going to be on a Saturday game. I'll be on this call as they take on Grand Valley at home. St. John is looking for their first home win this season against a 1-7 Grand Valley team that, they are looking to end on a high note as well. Grand Valley is rushing the ball very, very well. St. John is rushing the ball well. Their passing game is trying to find its way as well. This is one I'm looking forward to seeing because I think talent for talent, this matchup is a pretty interesting one. Pymatuning Valley and Wyndham. 7-1 Pymatuning Valley, 8-0 Wyndham. The winner of this game wins the NAC championship. Wyndham is a good football team. Their running back, Jack I, is phenomenal. PV, with a win here, gets a ton of points and could potentially prop themselves up into the 1 or 2 position in the playoffs, setting them up for a much better matchup. I think it's going to be PV in this one. I think it's going to be PV big in this one. Perry at 7-1, getting ready to take on a West Geauga team that's 2-6. It's a lot of the same story. I think Perry and Walter Moses, I think it's going to be a pirate show on Friday. Will I be right? Will I be wrong? I don't know. You're going to have to tell me. You got to watch them. It's all going to be right here on YSN Live, which is your home for high school sports every single week. It's been a heck of a season this year, and I cannot wait to see how these playoffs are going to play out. You know, we've got a couple teams who are still technically alive and could get in there with some help. We've got a couple teams that are guaranteed in there. The PV Lakers are one. I think they've got the biggest matchup of the week. It's not just about records. You know, they're looking at, I want to say it's their 6th year in a row winning their conference against a team in Wyndham that has surpassed every expectation anybody could have had for them. This is their Cinderella story. It's going to be interesting to see, can PV be the clock that strikes midnight on Wyndham? It's not a team that you can overlook because Wyndham is very, very talented. I've watched their running back, Jack Eye, rip open 75-yard touchdowns against every team they've faced this year. Is PV's defense going to be up for it? I'm telling you, that's the one you're going to want to watch. The Edgewood-Jefferson game, that game is no shortage of athleticism and two great coaches that really want to get a win over the other. You don't want to miss it, and you don't have to. It's going to be right here on ysnlive.com. I want to thank Ryan Turner and all of the Conneaut folks for coming out here and coming on the show tonight, everybody who has supported it thus far. I want to send another huge shout-out to Dan Sposito of Sposito Insurance. This is a gentleman that was eager to give back and help and be a part of this, and his confidence in me meant the world to me. And I want to thank the Detour family and everybody here at the Crow's Nest for allowing us to do this every single week. It is a wonderful, wonderful restaurant. It's very easy to find all the way at the end of 11. If you got to the lake, you've gotten too far. You got to stop here at the Crow's Nest. It's phenomenal stromboli, chili, burgers, some of the best wings you're ever going to get your hands on. It's right here at the Crow's Nest. Thank you guys so much. My name is Sam Torres, ladies and gentlemen, and as always, this is for the 440.
This for the fofo. This for the fofo. For the city and the back roads, got a whole county full of them goats. All from the fofo and that gold. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmerton and Valley. We from the football chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcons. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewood got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really bout it, yeah. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them, yeah. And Connie, I flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the fofo. This for the fofo. This for the fofo.